6 weeks later, the powder coater place finally got back to me. I think they kind of forgot about this job, but it's done now. So this is the battery shell, all nice and blue, and same with the frame, same with the fork. So what we got to do now is, because they painted the inside of this, or coated the inside of this, I'm probably going to have to sand back. We'll check the clearances on the cups, but I'll probably have to sand this back to metal. Oh geez, oh god, it's my boss. Crisis averted. It was a butt dial. I was terrified. Anyway, so yeah, some changes have taken place. I got a tool cart. The place is not any cleaner visibly, but I can get to all my tools, and that's a cool thing. So what do we gotta do? We have to do some finishing work on this battery box. The screw holes have all gotten painted, so I've got to tap those out. These slots have gotten painted, so I gotta open those up a little bit, some kind of way. I might just file them back to metal and just put a little bit of spray paint on them to keep them from rusting, or even just some grease for that matter. And then yeah, this came out really well. This part that we welded up is perfect. Still get to see its kiss. Which is probably a little bit structural, but it'll be okay. And then for other stuff we got to do, I got to take this shield off, and get a protractor or something and mark out where all the magnets are going. I just realized as I was looking at this that the magnets are going on the inside, so I got to do that before I mount this up. Which is probably okay, because I was gonna, after I get the cups in, I was gonna put this in just like set it in there as a dummy setup, so that I can connect up the rear wheel and see how the chain line's looking. Because you can see I've got these two washers. I don't have anything to point with, but those two thick washers right there, I can put those on either side of this chain ring and move it around a little bit as needed. I got some sandpaper that's for taking off the powder coat in the relevant places. I might take a crack at sanding this kickstand, see if I can make it any nicer looking. And then I got the tires on the wheels, and they are looking resplendent. So yeah, I guess the first thing I'm going to do is dig out a tap and start with this battery box, and then we'll advance to the steering and see if we can get these cups installed, and then we'll advance to this and see if we can get those cups installed. That sounds like a plan. New plan. This is a M3 tap, and I think that's an M2 screw. So I don't know. It's like super close, but it's not right. It's like drilling into the metal instead of cutting the threads or starting. So I guess we move on to this other stuff, and I'll figure out where I can find an M2 tap that's not Amazon. Well, that's the next strike. That's not the right one. Threads on here, sits nice on here. All that works, but the cups are wrong. And I think I got rid of the other cups. And I think the other cups were trashed anyway. Well, that's going to call for some digging. I guess we go on to the bottom bracket. Before I even put the bottom bracket on, though, we're just gonna do that live. And we're just gonna see if these cups fit before I go any further. As far as I knew, these were all standard BMX parts, and I'm pretty sure I measured the headset too, but clearly not. Or I got shipped the wrong thing. Oh, those are the right size. Okay. Well, I guess we'll send that stuff out and put that in. And go from there. Damn. So I'm really striking out tonight, but I guess I'm gonna hit this with a wire wheel, see if I can clean this up a little bit. I'm gonna hit this with the Dremel, what's left of this one, just open up these slots a little bit and make sure they fit, because they fit the wheel before it got powder coated, so it is possible. No additional metal has to be removed. And I found this, but I didn't find any other tools to like change the bits. So I was gonna. The whole reason I got the Dremel out is because I was gonna do the bottom bracket, but I failed. So I may just grab that with a pair of pliers in a little while. I'm going to start with this now, see if I can make myself feel better. Alright, well this has been an utter shambles in all sorts of ways. So I gave up on all the things I was doing and I test fitted the brakes instead. And we're looking pretty good. Both sides not rubbing, and there's a little bit more wiggle room than it looks like on that side. And the whole stack, I'll have to let this go, but the whole stack, you've got the nylock, the fender, the cylindrical washer, a cylindrical washer slash headlight mount, a big washer, the boomerang, a little washer, and the front of the bolt. And it's all looking reasonably tidy. I mean, a little busy, but you know. So that's where I'm going to have to leave it for tonight. I am out of interest in this project for the moment. I got to measure the head tube again. I swear to God, it was a standard BMX head tube. So I have to figure out what's going on with that, because the threading's all right. Everything is right except for the head tube itself. And of course I threw away the old races because they were scrap. So and I'll have to dig up a washer, or I'll have to dig up all my parts for the Dremel and finish with the bottom bracket there. And then we can proceed. Yeah, some of these things, you know, it's one foot after another. Sometimes it's like, well, what can I do? Because I've lost half the shit, and half the shit is like not the right size. So, but this makes me feel better, because that was like the big question mark, was I going to be able to find a powerful rim brake that would fit the absolutely bonkers crown to rim spacing on this fork. And I guess the answer was yes. So that's a win, at least. So yeah, I'm gonna pack all this stuff up and go to bed, I guess. Good night. Well, it's the next day, and I'm a little bit less unhappy. Couldn't get that tap to work, but what I did, it's probably not going to focus this close, but I just used a Dremel and notched out a couple of flats in here. So I turned this one screw into a self-tapper, and I've tried a couple of holes already, and it seems like it's working okay. So I think that's going to be all the finishing I gotta do for this battery box, is just to run this screw in and go from there. So if I just line it up and just gently start. Oops. Still a little tighter than if it was properly tapped, but it's not too bad. So I'm just going to run through and do the rest of these. I did this one, and I think this one already. The next step is dismantling this chainring from its guard, and so what I'm going to do is, this is the inside of the guard, and this is our magnet ring, which is used for the pedal assist. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tape both of these things down, center them reasonably close, and then use a straight edge to just extend the line between all of these magnets so that I can drill pilot holes for all 12 of these, and then I'll drill size whatever size I need to for them to fit these pretty exactly, and then I'll probably use epoxy or something, or maybe even just nail polish, to mount these into this ring. This ring is not as thick as this is, so the magnets are going to stick out a little bit, but it's going to be on the inside, so it's not going to matter and nobody's going to notice, except for you, since I just pointed it out. So with all of these holes drilled out, incidentally I went with 4.8 millimeters. This is my only set of metric bits. For those of you outside the US, if any, those are fucking hen's teeth in this country. Which is a real shame, because this is all international, and it shows me that German for drill bits is Spiralbohrer, which is wonderful. Anyone who can speak English can speak German. That's just how it is. And also, these only stick out maybe a 1/16 of an inch or so. I thought they were going to protrude a lot further than that, but that's looking good. I'm just going to have to be careful. I'm not going to film this, but as these come out, these actually have to be the correct way around for them to read properly. So I need to make sure that as this spins this way, that it's going to register with the pedal sensor. And then I don't even think I'm going to need epoxy. I think I'm just going to use some clear nail polish on either side, and that's probably going to do it. Also, that doesn't look terrible as far as like being evenly drilled for just like freehanding it completely. The spacing between all of these is within like a 1/16 of an inch, so good result. Probably. We'll find out. This is the final product. Don't have all the screws in yet, but that's what it's going to look like on the outside, and on the inside, not going to look too shabby either. I did spin this by hand to verify that it was going to work the way I wanted it to work, and there's some kind of way that the pedal sensor can be oriented that it'll catch all of those little dots on the way around, so that should be okay. I'm not going to put the these are a really snug fit anyway, but I'm just gonna paint the back side of this with clear nail polish, and I might just go over the front side of this once too, partly for adhesion reasons and partly for corrosion resistance. So I'm done with that for right now. I still have to open up the bottom bracket on that frame, but I'm not going to do that right now either. What I am going to do is put the kickstand on, I think. Of course, I've had to shove everything around over here several times over, but I hit the kickstand spring with the wire wheel, and it actually cleaned right up. There's a few rust spots on it, but it's really not bad at all. I am not even offended by touching it with my bare hands. So, and I wire wheeled this thing, as you saw. So, it's not completely not rusty, but it's in much better shape. So, I may just grease the stuffing out of this and reassemble it. And I guess while I'm down there, I can do the bottom bracket at the same time, now that I think about it. Here I'm pushing or pressing the bearing cups into place for the bottom bracket. I've ground back a bunch of the powder coat, and then this threaded rod is just threaded right through the table. There's a washer and a nut underneath. And then just as I tighten this down, it slowly drags the bearings in. And I gotta adjust it every once in a while, because like, this is as sloppy of a setup as it looks like. But it's a little bit, I don't want to say it's more accurate, but it is likely to lead to a better result than just pounding it in. So as it gets crappy on one side or the other, like goes in a little unevenly, then I can move it around and crank it back into place. So move all that crap out of the way so you can see. We'll just lift this up. and etc. Alright, so using that press thing as a makeshift stand for right now. The inside of this tube's not painted, so it doesn't matter if I scratch it a little bit. These cups went in okay. There's no slop and no tightness anywhere in the travel, so that's good. And then checking with this relatively straight edge, if I drop this in here, it's pretty flat over here, it's pretty flat over there, and that would be great, except these cups I think are thicker, possibly. Something's different about these cups. And with those two spacers in there, there's not enough space left to put in the whole no-turn assemblage, because these boys still got to go on, and there's no thread left for even this one. So I got to knock at least one of those washers off. I'm not sure if I can knock two off and still have clearance for this guard, but we'll have to figure that out. I think, we're talking like, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch max, so I don't think it's going to be a huge deal as far as the chain line's concerned, but that's kind of where we're at. So, progress and regress. Alright, this is what we ended up with. Not great, not terrible. It'll be fine for this application. That's so the bottom bracket came with this very pretty washer, which is slightly thinner than just one of the washers that the bike came with. So I just put one of the original ones on, and that's still got enough give to put on the lock washer here, or lock nut here, while letting that thing rotate freely. Still no play, so that's good. And then this is going to be where our brake mounts. Brake cable is going to come back under here rather. Probably a full cable with housing. We'll just start it and yeah, and then the shifter is going to be kind of goofy, but that's just a result of Sturmy Archer being weird and Taiwanese, I think. But that's okay. It's just going to have to do a little loop-de-loop to get from here back and around to here, where the shifter cable is supposed to go. So that's it for tonight. For the last couple of days, actually. Both forward, sideways, and no progress in various ways, but it's getting there.